Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar video. This is going to be my thoughts on the New York Comic Con 2023 Avatar panel. Avatar publishing panel that we got here. So I'm recording this about an hour and a half after the end of the panel. They have still not basically officially put out anything except kind of the non-publishing piece of news that we got. So that's why I don't have like clear images of some of this stuff. It's just because officially they haven't really acknowledged much about what came out. So we have a few stories to tell here. We did get news, expected news kind of did happen, but it didn't really feel like we got more than maybe the really obvious stuff. So exciting, but could have been more exciting is probably the idea here. So, you know, in the lead up, Dark Horse had actually tweeted out, like what, half an hour basically before the panel started, they were teasing that there's a panel coming up like immediately soon. And this link is not to watch it, it's just to like the descriptions and stuff like that. And then Dark Horse have proceeded to not post anything at all about the panel since this moment. So basically once the panel time started, everyone who was trying to follow this was just sitting there, literally just sitting there for like 50 minutes. I believe it took until a quarter to like 15 minutes left in the panel time for this news to come out. And that is the official announcement of season 3 of the Braving the Elements podcast. So because we knew there was someone from Nickelodeon Podcasts on the panel, this felt like a very, very obvious announcement that was going to happen. They were going to do this, I think, at SDCC. Again, there was a Braving the Elements panel. They cancelled it because it was right around the time when the actor strikes and stuff like that were super kind of high. So they were never going to have Janet Varney and Dante Basco, like, I think, announce that themselves here. So instead, what they did was, of course, during the panel, I guess they showed this video. They had that Nickelodeon podcast person talk about the details. The video is just like, what, I think 37 seconds long. It's basically just, we've heard you all asking for it. Season 3 is happening. There are some clips of Janet Varney and Dante Basco talking. But that's really it. It's just season 3 of this podcast that you all like is coming, and that's really all there is to say for the most part. It's coming January 2024, so only a few months away from this actually happening. They confirm here 40 episodes of it is going to happen. It's of course going to cover book 3 of it, and you know that's the basic kind of core of it. We're hoping that we get other stuff, you know, video shorts, corresponding YouTube content. Hopefully that net will grow to include like a little bit of news. When Avatar Studios news begins to happen, maybe we'll see more of that and the podcast be used as a platform for that, for more interviews, because I definitely prefer that side of the podcast to the actual kind of episode analysis stuff. It's fine. But if you know your Avatar, you've kind of been there, kind of done that with that side of things. So that's all there really is to say here. It's finally confirmed. It's happening. Great. Then we get into the news. So as you can see here, yes, we did actually get the Korra comic announcement, but as you can see here, I, through Greg from the podcast, actually was like the first person to post about it online, because it seems like because of poor like kind of mobile internet service effectively in the room, no one was able to live tweet during the panel. So I only got these images and these details from Greg once the panel came to an end, and then I was able to actually post about it. You can see here, yeah, it's like a minute after 9 after the hour of the panel is over. But yeah, what we get here is of course the Mako, expected Mako comic. The fact that it has just a title, no parts, seems to confirm it is a one-shot comic. So again, we know this was initially announced as a comic trilogy. I suppose that just means that the creative team is locked in initially for 3 comics, and they will be 3 one-shot comics. So what we have here is the Mako comic, The Legend of Korra, Mystery of Penkan Island. So that is a Penquan. So another mysterious island gets the focus here, but this time in the Korra era, and with Mako, Bolin, and apparently their past as the focus. That's immediately very, very, very exciting here. The only other, so Kachi95, who posted some stuff at the last panel, also posted this. So you can't see the title in this one, but you maybe get a slightly better look at the art in this one. So yeah, you can see here, it is Mako in his typical kind of detective outfit. It's Bolin in his kind of book 4 kind of outfit. And then yeah, it is the family photo burning now in the background, as well as, I suppose, a boat effectively, I suppose, to Penkan Island. So very interesting stuff. I wonder what this means necessarily. So we did also get some preview pages, so you can see the first of them here. So it seems like Mako is talking to some kids in this kind of first page, and then in the second page, the mother of these kids seems to come in, take them away. She's annoyed at Mako for some reason, but it seems like Mako has made a bit of a connection with one of the boys, but they walk off. Mako then goes I suppose home, and Bolin is there with Pabu, and he is surprised by something. So he's, I guess, going to go off and investigate this island. We don't really have a lot of additional information. I'm not sure if they actually said too much about this comic. The main thing to say here probably is just that it doesn't seem to be the case that they gave any sort of a release date suggestion for this book. To speculate, it's going to be after May, because May is when the Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer, which was just recently in the last couple of weeks kind of confirmed for a release date in May. So it's going to be after that. The other thing to keep in mind is that that creative team on the Avatar comics is probably in for a third one-shot comic again, after Azula and then the June and Iroh comic, Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer. It was, 7 months between Azula and the current release date for Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer. So if it's a similar thing again, that would put this now unknown third Avatar one-shot comic, basically the 6th one, as 7 months into the future after May. So that would put it at like November, December, very end of the year. So an early estimate probably for this comic is that it's coming somewhere between May and probably like November, December. So that probably maybe puts it as our maybe October, August, September comic for next year. But I understand. At this point, when it's not quite the absolutely official announcement with the listing for the comic, that has got them into trouble with, complaints about delays. They're going to wait until they can more heavily confirm it. And I think ultimately that's fine. Once we have the announcement of the comic, I think that's the main thing to talk about here. So this makes it sort of clear that, like, okay, the Mako's talking to these kids in the kind of police headquarters here, and this is when the mother comes in. So what has Mako kind of brought them in for? Have they gotten into trouble, or are they telling him information about something that they saw? That's an interesting one overall. So very, very interesting stuff to see there. But that is really all there is to say about the Korra comic right now. It seems like they're still kind of keeping it a little bit of a mystery. Of course, we have to wait and see when we get to the proper description for this comic. But interesting stuff. Like, to me, straight away, just the idea of like Mako and Bolin's past coming into play in relation to this, I think, is very interesting. Like, what does that mean? Like, is this gonna be the speculation that I think a lot of people have had for a story where we hunt down the people who killed Mako and Bolin's parents, the firebender? Or is this maybe more a thing where it's like, okay, we know their father is the Earth Kingdom side of things, So that means the mother is the Fire Nation side of things. So Naoki, is this island a fire island? And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're addressing that. Maybe something about their mother and her kind of connections or whatever is maybe why the family was targeted. You know, there's a way to do these type of things, but they're highlighting the family portrait for a reason, obviously. I just wonder what exactly it is. Either way, it seems like Mako is getting his spotlight here. He's getting a chance to do detective work, do a mystery plot on an island. That's kind of exactly what we want. Bolin is there, so I suppose he has someone to kind of bounce off. And the fact that, you know, it is about their past, it makes sense that Bolin is there as well. So if it does relate to more of the, do they want revenge for what happens, it'll be interesting to see how they place each of these characters. Like who will be more angry about it, who will be in what position. Is Mako going to be the more angry one? Bolin potentially? What's happening here? That's the big questions that we have. So that's that. Greg then sent over some details about a couple of things. So yes, there is no date for the Mako comic just yet. In terms of the Abrams book side of the panel, they didn't reveal the Roku novel cover. They, as expected, basically did just go over the stuff that we've already covered before. So if you are only hearing about this now, over the last couple of days we did get the listings and the reveal that the 5th Avatar novel in Chronicles of the Avatar is going to be about Roku. It's called The Reckoning of Roku. So again, we have this placeholder cover. They didn't reveal it at the panel. It's coming July 23rd next year. We have a new author, Randy Rebay, replacing FCE starting from book 5, and we do also have the description here highlighting that it is going to be about a young 16-year-old Roku who has just started his training at the Southern Air Temple. Hidden secret of an island is the plot point as well, so they're really loving their secret islands here because it's a plot point here. It's a plot point apparently in the Mako comic, and it was a plot point in effectively both Yang Chen novels, especially the second one. So really in an island mood, obviously, are the writers for Avatar. But that's that. And then we did also get some early preview pages for The Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer, which is the Avatar comic to follow up Azula in the Spirit Temple. So what we have here is... as you can see here, it's Iroh at his tea shop, Jasmine Dragon. Some kids come in. They like the tea, of course. He's having a great time. He's an amazing host, as we know. They go outside and there's protesters protesting against Iroh for some reason. He tries to talk to them. They don't want to for whatever reason. Iroh and the kids are, having a good time. But then somewhere in the background is a mysterious figure. Might be June, but one other little detail, and I'll bring this up here, is that Greg in his notes to me also mentioned that apparently there was a mention during the panel of a tea cartel, which might be this thing that I think we know from the description of this book. Iroh is going to leave the Jasmine Dragon to basically get his tea supply going again. And I'm guessing it has been hindered by the tea cartel. And this is how he's drawn out of the Jasmine Dragon, to where June can actually get him, kidnap him, and kind of take him away to start the plot of the story. Then we also seem to know that they suggest that the history that relates to June's parents and also people that she's worked with in the past is going to be explored. So I take that to very much be an exploration of kind of bounty hunter history, because Iroh's past is also going to be covered in this to a certain degree. So I'm guessing Iroh is familiar with June's parents. That's probably one of the connections they're likely to make in all of this, even though it's not confirmed, obviously, that. So that's basically, I think, everything in terms of news from the panel. It's just you don't expect them to talk too much about Azula because that's out in just over 2 weeks. So not too long to wait for that. What else do we get here? Have Dark Horse updated at all to post the official cover? Doesn't seem like it. So yes, the main news coming out of this does definitely seem to be the Mako comic getting officially announced with some preview pages. So that is interesting. That is nice to see. It means that it is effectively in a very similar stage, I suppose, of production to the Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer. So again, the idea that that book is seemingly confirmed for May now, this shouldn't be too many more months after that, but it more than likely will be after that. Anything else that I was told about the panel? Greg says that, oh yeah, apparently, yeah, FCE did talk about our new writer, Randy Roubaix. Just said that, you know, he's happy to kind of pass it on. He's a great writer. He is an Avatar fan and stuff like that. Apparently, they were shown a video on the new book author as well. So I don't know what exactly was in that author. Like, was it him sending in a message, like saying something about this, or was it more of a kind of a video highlight thing, highlighting maybe some of his previous work? Not exactly sure what the precise details on that really were. Otherwise, I did ask if, like, wait, we haven't mentioned Magpie or Nickelodeon publishing during this. He says, again, there was someone from Magpie there, but apparently there was no news as such from them, so it doesn't seem like we got anything about the Spirit World book. He was a writer, and Greg did say this guy, James Mendez, his breakdowns was very good about the sort of behind the scenes stuff, which I think actually might have been interesting to hear about, but it doesn't seem like there was news as such. Otherwise, I think Greg summed up the panel as mostly being stuff that we already knew about. So I'm guessing they mentioned, you know, like I Am Zuko again, maybe I Am Katara, you know, a lot of the other books that we did obviously know about. Doesn't seem like Beast of the Four Nations got mentioned. I don't know if they did a Q&A. Maybe there wasn't time for that. So I don't know if it's just no one who was planning to ask that question got the opportunity to, or just no one got a chance to ask the question. That's the basic kind of idea there. But certainly this is the highlight of the panel. A Mako comic to look forward to. Finally, something, you know, significant for Korra fans. Finally, Mako getting a story on his own here, because you would definitely say he hasn't been treated the best in the two Korra comic trilogies, and then he just has not been in any of the Korra short stories, like, at all. He's just not in them at all. So he gets his own comic here. That's great to see, and it looks like they're doing probably everything you probably want them to do for Mako in this comic, of just him getting the spotlight on his own, Bolin as the character to kind of work with him, being a detective, and then their family history, their past is going to come into it in some way. So it'll be interesting to see how this all goes. Again, as far as we're aware, the creative team is Alexandria Monique on art, and Kiku Hughes is the writer, both of which we have seen work on Avatar before, mostly in like short story capacity, but this is their first kind of big book, basically. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to wrap it up there. I will do a live stream tomorrow in or around this time, like an hour or two before this video goes live or something like that. I'll schedule it at some point, so you know, for tomorrow. But I'll do a live stream tomorrow talking about this stuff again, news, if any of this kind of gets clarified in the meantime, if we do get like the official clean version of the cover, like officially announced, any extra details that from the panel that other people might have caught. I'll cover that. But what I'll also do is I'll do some more detailed speculation on the reckoning of Roku. I'll probably put some time in here, go through the Roku RPG information in quite a lot of detail, so we can really kind of cover what we need to in terms of the details on this book. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below on the news we got from New York Comic Con. So Korra comic announced. Unfortunately, nothing extra that's new about the Roku novel, but we did get some preview pages for Bounty Hunter and the Tea Brewer, and a few little, I suppose, tidbits of information. But what are your thoughts on what we saw here and what we didn't? But that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.